His sister is married to Tony Romo.
Oh.
Wow, that's a random fact.
Wow. I mean, is he able to get through his vowels without his voice going out? Because I've listened to him try to broadcast for 20 minutes and it doesn't seem to last that long. That's a shame.
I think you had to make a Tony Romo dig in there somewhere.
No, I mean...
Eastsiders and all you scandal-loving listeners out there, you just tuned into the Non-Judging Breakfast Pod, where the coffee is strong, the waffles are fresh, and the gossip is hotter than ever. My name is Leif, and I'm your seasoned Gossip Girl veteran.
And I'm Steve, your newbie, your greenhorn, I don't know, Leif, what do you call a season 2 kid on the block in Gossip Girl terms?
Well, I don't know if you know your arse from your arsenal yet, so you're still just a minion.
That's fair enough. Here's the deal, folks. Leif has been watching Gossip Girl since the very beginning, and I'm watching right now for the very first time. And together we are your dynamic duo, bringing you all of the drama, romance, and sometimes questionable fashion choices of this iconic 2007 TV series.
That's right. Each week we'll be taking a deep dive into the show one episode at a time. We analyze all the parallels, obscure references, and of course the couture catastrophes. Plus, we'll also be touching on the behind-the-scenes gossip as well as stories from fandom.
And since we're all about inclusivity here at the Non-Judging Breakfast Pod, there is always room for you at our non-judging breakfast table. So please, grab a mimosa, grab a cup of coffee, or maybe some of Nate and Chuck's special medicine, and let's get this show started.
All right, let's do it. And Steve, we are not here alone today. We have with us the wife of the pod, Robin.
Yes. Welcome, Robin, our own Kylie Kelsey, to the Non-Judging Breakfast Pod.
Thank you very much for having me. It was the Kylie Kelsey reference that actually convinced me to be on the show. I heard that I've been mentioned a number of times, and I thought, why not sit in as a fellow Gossip Girl newbie? It has been a blast to watch along with you guys.
Yes, and you being our Kylie Kelsey would also mean, ladies, anyone who would date Leif at this point, you would be the official T-Swift of the Non-Judging Breakfast Pod.
Not a bad place to be.
It is not a bad place to be. So, just putting that out there.
So, little scuttlebutt going on, but this will be old news by the time this podcast releases at the end of August. But Taylor Momsen, Jenny, she got bit by a bat on stage.
Yes,
I heard this. Didn't I send you?
Yes,
I sent you a clip of this.
And she continued performing.
She just fucking rolled with it. She did not freak out.
Nope.
She didn't scream. She goes, "There's a fucking bat on my leg." Like, I was just like, get him.
Ran.
She
never seen me.
I think that she just became the new Ozzy.
I was going to say, is that the most metal thing that you could possibly do?
I mean,
get bitten by a bat and keep performing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a deep honor. Like it's a metal honor at that point.
Yeah,
the bat chose you.
Yeah.
So today we are here to talk about season 2, episode 2, Never Been Marcused.
Yes.
Which is based on Never Been Kissed.
Yes, a reference I definitely got.
And I more than got, because Steve always teases me that I've only seen about 20 movies in my life, but of those 20 movies, I've seen each of them probably 100 times, and this is firmly on that list.
Definitely a good one to start with. Yeah, Drew Barrymore. What's his name? Arquette.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in love with Drew Barrymore when I was 4 years old. And so even like up until when this movie came out, like I would be one of those guys and be like, I'm not watching a fucking rom-com. Oh, Drew Barrymore's in it? Okay, I'll go. Well, just because you want to go.
I do like both of her Adam Sandler movies that she's in.
I don't think I've seen the newer one.
Blended.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
I think it's underrated.
That I feel like Adam Sandler's I feel like the last decade Adam Sandler has been a little underrated. I feel like he's put out some good stuff. That basketball movie was good.
Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The plan is like, it was, typical Sandler rom-com.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I feel like
but you got the whole Brady Bunch in Africa though vibe to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this episode originally aired on September 8th, 2008. The Television Without Pity episode description, no Bayless this week, so I took a snippet from Jacob's full recap. Hell yes. So Dan and Serena agreed to take it slow for 5 seconds, but that lasts approximately as long as it takes Serena to turn the jitney back to Manhattan into a hilariously seductive woman show of 9.5 weeks. I realized tonight that I had badly misread the scene last week when Serena was scrubbing his suit. He apologized for calling her a whore 1 billion times. Now I can actually enjoy whatever's going on with them. I'm an adult sometimes. Blair's emotional cover stories within cover stories have gotten so insane that she's convinced she's actually in love with Lord Marcus, whose judgmental, overinvested mother, the Duchess, is also Nate's girlfriend, Catherine. The cougar is a MILF. This episode was written by Stephanie Savage. This is her first solo effort. Previously, she co-wrote the pilot and finale with Josh Shorts. Not sure how much she actually wrote.
Well, I'm just saying that we know who is carrying the weight in the finale, if that's the case. Stephanie Savage did something. I feel like she has credits elsewhere.
Well, she's like his partner.
Okay.
Not partner, but just partner.
But yeah. I understand. Yeah. She didn't do the who wrote True Blood? Not her? Okay. That name just, for some reason, that just hit that part of my brain that, okay, good.
Episodes directed by Michael Fields, who previously directed Roman Holiday and Desperately Seeking Serena. One was good, one was bad.
Yeah. Roman Holiday was a good episode.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen many episodes in season 1 where I could say the directing was really bad. There was bad acting, there was bad writing, but I felt like directors typically weren't the low point.
Yeah, and I mean, TV is not a director's medium.
Yeah.
And the writers have a lot of control.
Yeah.
Episode begins in Act 1. Gossip Girl monologues. As summer comes to an end, I'd like to share a few things I've learned about the fun in the sun. Gossip Girl's Guide to Summer Fun tip number 1. Don't fall asleep on the job. The best hookups are free of morning breath and awkward conversation, and the only thing harder than making up is waking up. So the episode does open. Serena and Dan awake arm in arm on the beach. Dan is ready to jump back in, but Serena is hesitant. Dan tries to use his lips to convince Serena, but she manages to resist.
This, my note here ties in so nicely to our little intro banter there. I had written down, what in the rom-com is happening here? Who just effortlessly awakes, tousled on the beach on a blanket, in the arms of their lover? It was a very interesting...
Serena Vanderwoodson obviously does.
Evidently. It was a very interesting opening scene. It was, yes, very rom-com-esque.
And there were many times in season 1 where you brought up that they were a couple, that this was just young lust and that these kids were just burning hot. And I didn't really feel that so much in the first season. And then I felt like this just was kind of forcing that angle. Like, that's all they ever were. And it's like, they found things like Serena was becoming this better person, a better student.
I mean,
better...
yeah, they got along well, but they didn't really have much in common.
No, but like,
but Steve and I have nothing in common on paper.
Yeah, and we did start out hot and heavy, like and then found that common ground in between. So, I'm just saying that I felt like that became the entire focus of this episode. Where even in other episodes where sex or making out was a thing, it was never so like, oh, that's all that they have together.
I don't think it was all they had, but I do think that was the primary thing. It was just theme in season 1. I feel like that they were always drawn to each other, but then like as soon as they started like talking about things went wrong.
Yeah,
because he couldn't handle. He had the whole upstairs downstairs thing.
The upstairs downstairs thing was always a problem.
Yeah,
I felt like there was just a little more substance in season 1 than they're giving it in the start of season 2.
I agree.
Well, I think the issue is that they don't want to talk about their issues.
Well, yeah, and that's the big thing, is that they're just making out to avoid talking about stuff, which also it's kind of like...
There.
That tracks.
Yeah.
And last week, I think you said that you thought the writers got them back together for reading the message boards, but I think it's actually just because Penn and Blake are like all over each other, like as soon as the camera stops anyway. So
yeah, because they were still dating at this point.
Yeah, they did up until season 3.
And right around what time did Green Lantern come out?
Yeah, sometime around there.
Oh, that's interesting.
I mean, I guess it probably came out like times towards season 4, but it was probably filmed like between season 2 and 3.
Yeah. Hey, hold my beer real quick. Hey, Penn, hold my beer.
He didn't do so bad after that. He dated what's her name for a while. The daughter of the Cosby daughter.
Not Lisa.
Her daughter.
Oh, her daughter. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Penn dated her, and then now he's married to one of the Kirks.
Oh.
So he married into old money.
Yeah.
Kind of like the show.
Serena would be proud.
I'm telling you, it can work out.
Yeah, his wife actually is kind of Serena-ish.
I think this is also a good time to say that out back we do have 2 Cardinals that come by that we have named Ryan Redknolls and Blake Flively.
And by we, Steve means he.
Okay.
He has named them that because he is the punniest.
Blair and Marcus are riding bikes. I don't care about this couple at all. Yeah, pretty boring.
Yeah.
And then we get a whole other scene with them eating breakfast at a restaurant.
Oh, and Marcus's blimey bloke. His accent is just so terrible. And it's funny because it reminds me of Angel from Buffy when Angel has an Irish accent.
Oh my God, it's so bad.
It's like, yeah, when he tries his hardest to do his Lucky Charms, but
we love David Boreanaz. He's a big Phillies fan.
I love David, and I love Angel. I love David Boreanaz. His Irish accent could have used some coaching.
Oh, sorry, Leif. My main note for this scene was, quote myself, how old is this dude? I understand that age is somewhat of a mystery in this show between actors and characters, but there is something about Marcus that just, I'm getting 30-year-old vibes from
he's
him.
definitely past college.
Yeah, and where most of the time when we see these actors that are, like Asher, who looked like he was mid-20s, when we have these actors that show that,
they at least dress them in like high school clothes.
Exactly. They dress them in high school clothes, or they say that they're attending such and such high school. For him to be like, no, I'm not attending college. He didn't say Royals don't go to college.
Right. He's not attending college because he's 30.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobles still go to college.
Yeah. He's already got his graduate degree.
Yes. Yeah, by the way, it's Dr. Lord Marcus.
Blair calls Serena because she is worried about screwing up her relationship with the Lord. Which, yeah, Blair's already back on the back foot right away here.
Yeah. Uncharacteristically so, I felt, too.
Yeah, I was irritated with Blair in this scene because she's typically such a power player. And you've liked this guy for 27 minutes. And now all of a sudden he's already being vague about the future. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot even for Blair.
Yeah. And one little look when you mention his mom and you run. And like a lot of people are going to be like, oh, you want to meet my mom? Like that could mean many things. For instance, my mom is a real pain in the ass who likes inappropriate relationships. I'm not talking about my mom. I'm talking about the Lord's
just glared at Steve so strongly because his mother is
spoilers for later in the episode.
Wonderful woman.
My mother is a saint. Although we did learn this weekend she does not listen to this though she started listening to this podcast, but stopped because Leif and I curse too much. And
cursing Steven.
Yeah.
Goddamn fucking heathens.
Goddamn heathens curse too much. When we were sitting at dinner having this conversation, I brought up Gossip Girl and she goes, "What's Gossip Girl?" And I was like, "Well, that's the show we're talking about." "You're talking about a show?" So she didn't get very far when she did list.
Yeah. Love her.
Love you, Mom.
Yeah. Chuck sneaks past Blair and slips inside to befriend Marcus. I'm sure there are absolutely zero ulterior motives.
Yeah. I love who doesn't have in this town, who doesn't have history? And it just so disarming.
Marcus, you have no idea what you're getting into here.
Yeah. Yeah. And Chuck just, he plays him like, and just a well-tuned instrument.
Mm-hmm. Serena and Dan run into each other waiting for the jitney. Goo-goo eyes ensue.
Yeah, my note here was, do rich people take the jitney? Is that a thing? Also, is a jitney just a bus?
Yes.
With a fancy name
Yeah.
so that maybe some rich people will take it.
Yes.
Got it.
And
I understand jitneys now.
So if you go to Long Island, you'll notice there are a lot of parkways and things like that because back then you weren't allowed to take trucks or buses on there, and they didn't want people from the city, specifically, people of color coming from Harlem, coming out to Long Island. They didn't want that to happen. So
wait, so you're telling me that some of these major traffic routes are because of racism?
I'm afraid so, Steve. I'm afraid so.
That tracks. But also they said earlier, like, let's get together somewhere around a lot of people where we can talk about this. And like, here's a whole lot of people for a 3-hour bus trip.
Yeah. But apparently it's not. It's plenty private for them because we'll see it the next time we see him. Blair comes back into the restaurant and sees Chuck and Marcus together, who have made plans for squash. Blair grabs Chuck by the scruff and tosses him away.
I noted here that basshole is the greatest insult of all time. Steve, I think you wanted to make a list of Chuck Bass related insults.
Yes, because I also, my note here is basshole.
And
so
Chuck Bastard.
Yeah. And
Mother Chucker.
Oh, they're all so good.
I do. Mother Chucker and basshole are my favorites.
Coming, Blair.
But Chuck Bastard is also, I mean, keep them coming. Keep them coming.
Blair hitches a ride with Marcus back into the city.
In a limo, as I expected. Yeah. Thank you.
Makes sense. Nate tells his mother he's going back to the city. However, there's a problem. The feds have frozen the Archibald assets for Howie's crimes. Anne's Vanderbilt father has also cut her off.
It takes Anne less than a minute to suck.
Yeah.
And enter Anne, and then you could like set a timer, and it like sometimes she can get a sentence or two out, but it's under a minute before it's just nope. You are the worst human being.
And I love how the words and the actions do not meet in this scene for her. Is that she's telling Nate this like really heavy information and still gardening and tending to her estate and pruning her azaleas as she's delivering this like life-altering news to her only child.
That's just Anne in a nutshell, though. She's all about appearance.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And you have to think, like, all of these assets being seized, but then why isn't the house being seized that they're at right now? Because it's probably from the family estate, not from hers.
Yeah, not her.
And which means that cutting her off means, no, you only get to live in the Hamptons house.
Although I do like Nate's, they want to take our money?
I'll take care of it, Mom.
Yeah, don't
Really,
worry.
kid?
I'll handle this. I'll do it. I'm sure I'll find
I'll find a job.
Yeah.
Delivering papers.
It'll solve all of our problems.
I mean, that is how Loverboy starts, isn't it?
Catherine is leaving a message for Nate. The fair is still on. Woo!
Ugh.
Yeah.
So gross.
So gross.
Catherine gets a call from her son, Marcus. What? Yes, the soap opera is full on.
This was the moment when everyone had warned me, when everyone's like, you're watching season 1, oh, that's the best. And like, trust me, I know where it goes from there. That's always been the conversation. And in that moment, that was the moment I was like, yep, we are watching a soap opera now. This is no longer...
And I'm so here for that.
Yeah. I mean, like, all right, bring it.
I mean, we were 80s, 90s kids. Like, when you were homesick from school,
yeah,
you watched
your stories.
Your stories that your parents and grandparents watched.
Yeah.
I have fond Young and the Restless memories, and I think this is evoking.
Yeah, I remember none of it because I always thought it was gross how they kissed.
Blair has brought a bottle of champagne for the ride back to the city. Woo woo. Looks like romance is flying.
Yeah.
Love is in the air.
With your 30-year-old boyfriend.
I kind of just think that's a normal thing on the Upper East Side. I feel like Serena and Blair are always dating, like, especially Serena, probably dated like.
It's true. They
50-year-olds.
have made sort of reference to that. Yeah. I just feel like he's the first, maybe not the first, but he's like this recurrent character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not of.
Does he have diplomatic immunity?
So we come back from commercial, and we're on the jitney. Dan plays his MP3 player as he and Serena ride on opposite sides of the bus. A series of comical scenes, gravity, and teenage lust forced Dan and Serena to have sex in the bus bathroom. They literally had no choice.
Yeah, this was so fucking dumb. This whole thing.
The music was good, though.
It was. Well, I mean, the music's always good. I mean, I haven't seen an episode of Gossip Girl where the music doesn't, at some point stand out. But like
who eats strawberries like that?
Really? Yeah.
Who's bringing chocolate-covered strawberries on a jitney ride and eating them seductively on said jitney ride?
Yeah. And
this scene was ridiculous.
Yeah. Unless you're trying to have sex, you don't eat a strawberry like that.
And a far less sexy limo ride, Blair and Marcus are discussing plans. Blair invites Marcus and his mom to her annual welcome back party to the city. As soon as Marcus looks away, Blair sends a 911 text to Dorota to plan a last-minute party.
Dorota, the real MVP of this show.
Yeah.
I love Dorota. And again, this was another, Blair not being Blair. Since when does Blair, panic like that? And I don't know. She's just off her game in most of this episode.
Yeah. Yeah, and
she is a lowly Waldorf.
That's right.
Yeah. And I felt like this scene is even better conveyed by Marcus, that it felt more like I don't want to talk about my mom, or no, I don't want you to come and hang out with my mom,
he was warning all of us that she's so gross.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Blair and Serena definitely have this dichotomy. So Blair is definitely more new money, and Serena's old.
Yeah.
That totally plays into the whole thing where Serena's effortless and Blair has to work for everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because Eleanor.
So now that she's like with this lord, this is her chance to kind of get above Serena in station.
Interesting. I never thought about that.
Yeah. Eleanor was self-made. Like
I think Harold is sort of old money, but Eleanor is definitely, she married up. And it's definitely in later seasons actually mentioned like Waldorf women work for the where they get.
That's true. Eleanor does have like an actual career.
And it's funny now that you mention it, if you look throughout the show, the old money, new money relationship is all over the place, right? It's Lily and no money, like new old money and no money with Lily and Rufus but even with Bass, like Bart Bass,
new money.
He's new money. So there's old money and new money with Lily and Bart. And the Archibalds are new money and old money. Well, also it's probably more new money and no money, or old money and no money
now. Yeah.
Now. But I also got the impression that he was more, definitely below her station.
Nate and Chuck are riding back together when Chuck answers a call he doesn't want to take in front of Nate.
I was bummed that we get this glimpse of Nate ribbing on Chuck and like getting witty and these quick one-liners back and forth with Chuck. And it's just a reminder that, man, I wish they'd let Chase be funny.
Yeah.
He's a funny dude and he's a funny actor and he's hilarious on The Boys. He's also terrifying on The Boys at times and disgusting, but he also is really funny.
Yeah, definitely. He's a Southern boy.
Yeah, their banter was great in that scene.
His sister,
it's nice that their friendship is, surviving.
His sister is married to Tony Romo.
Oh.
Wow, that's a random fact.
Wow. That's a shame.
I had to make a Tony Romo dig in there somewhere.
No, I mean, is he able to get through his vows without his voice going out? Because I've listened to him try to broadcast for 20 minutes and it doesn't seem to last that long.
In Brooklyn, Rufus is back. Vanessa has converted part of the gallery storage space into a functional cafe. The pair have an oddly intimate conversation.
I am so glad you noted this, Leif, because I think one of the fun parts about doing this for me is, taking my own notes and then realizing what I have or don't have in common with other people who are watching the show. And this was something that just jumped off the screen to me, is that Vanessa is the same age as your children. And yet you are confiding in her as if she's your friend.
Yeah.
And I know that age is apparently quite a construct on this show altogether. But like, pick a lane, Rufus.
Yeah.
She's not your buddy.
Definitely weird.
Yeah. And like Rufus is sort of like, not only is he like the dad, but he's like the everybody's dad.
Right.
Which kind of made that weird. And like, you hired her to do some business stuff, but you're also now it's just.
So last week we mentioned that we thought that Cece was filling in for Lily, because Kelly's not available.
Right.
So maybe Vanessa is filling in here for
Lily. There's definitely a few places where it feels like these could have been Lily scenes.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't interact with anybody else, does she?
Yeah. They also have no other,
she doesn't talk to. Does she talk to Nate? She does.
Yeah.
Because
she gets pregnant.
So she does have other interactions.
Nate's back at his house and it's being combed over by the FBI.
Poor Nate, man. And this
A-cab.
douchey FBI guy.
A-cab.
Yeah. This shit. Why is this dude such a dick to this 17-year-old? And like
Creepily talking about he's going through his mom's closet and stuff. Like, what the hell, dude?
I do love, though, that Nate tried to be a big boy and was like, "I'll ask the questions around here."
Yeah.
What, Nate? Oh, sweetie. That's a nice try.
And like, here you're trying to find this kid's dad, and you think that the best way to get him to turn on his dad is to just be a complete fucking asshole to him? Not just being like, "Hey, kid, look, look, your dad could probably get this worked out if he comes home. But no, he's like, I'm going to tear your life apart.
Wow.
Piece of shit, kid. And I've been in your mom's closet, and I know that she's not going to handle being poor.
Sucks to be you.
Sucks to be you. She's going to have to live at the Hamptons from now on.
Tend to her azaleas.
She was cut off.
Chuck and Marcus are having a rousing game of squash. Marcus thinks Catherine is going to make Blair crumble. Looks like Chuck has a new BFF.
All right, so as the newbie here, my note was, is squash just wall tennis with sweaters? There was a lot of sweating, and you're wearing cable knit.
Yeah,
How does that...
I'm just
that's how rich people stay in shape.
I'm just going to...
Because they can't
they're
go out...
extra fabric.
Because they can't go out jogging, because then they'd be actually seen by the real people.
Right. Okay.
So wait, your mom didn't take you to aerobics at a local racquetball club where they had squash and racquetball and swimming?
Yes. So speaking of, what is the difference between squash and racquetball?
I do not know this.
Someone needs to write it and tell me.
Yeah,
I'm
please,
curious.
someone.
Because it all looks like wall tennis to me.
Yeah, it all looks like wall tennis. Maybe you get to use more walls in one of them. I don't know.
Or less cable knit sweaters.
Yeah.
Send us an email, notjudgingbreakfastpod@gmail.com.
Yeah, to be fair, we had my mom could take aerobics class money, not you could actually join the racquetball club money.
So we move into Act 2. Blair is reviewing party plans with Dorota. Serena shows up and Blair asks her to invite Dan to the party for his soccer knowledge.
Did we know anything about his soccer knowledge before?
No.
this? Okay.
No.
Even more so.
But it makes sense. It definitely tracks for Dan as a character.
It does. It does.
I
He's going to
was-
like a sport.
I was reminded earlier that he actually makes fun of Nate for playing soccer. That Nate, in a previous episode, it was in the SATs episode, because I listened to our podcast of the SATs episode today, and in it, when Nate is like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go play soccer, and Dan's like, you're going to go play soccer right now? And like really came at him hard during like playing soccer during SAT season.
So why didn't Blair ask Nate?
That was exactly like, why wouldn't Blair ask Nate? I can tell you why. It's because Stephanie Savage didn't watch all of season 1. or didn't take notes anyway.
Nate shows up at the penthouse. Chuck is selling his shares in Vitrola. Nate is shocked when Chuck claims it's to impress Blair, but as soon as Nate leaves, we find out whatever is going on, it involves Mrs. Howie. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Dun-dun-dun.
It's cute how subtle Chuck is when he's like talking vaguely, making it sound like he's talking about getting rid of Marcus, but he's actually
Doing the right thing.
Yeah, doing the right thing, but he's actually, yeah.
But of course, since he was using that same language with Anne,
Yeah.
Nate, the dumbest of all characters, found him out.
Well, because
He must have got struck by lightning during that phone conversation.
yeah.
Dan and Serena talk on the phone. Now Dan wants to take some time, but Serena invites him to Blair's party. Seems like these two have already flip-flopped their positions from just earlier this episode. Dan has become a real hit it and quit it this season.
Your knowledge of Premier League football is integral to one of her schemes. which I love how Serena is just like, I can't explain this. Blair wants you at this party.
But I like how Dan just goes along with it.
Yeah.
Like he's like, yeah, okay.
Of course, my soccer
Blair. That's
knowledge.
Blair.
Yeah. Which also kind of we should make note of the fact that right now Dan is at a point with Blair that he no longer ignores her schemes, but is willing to be a part of it to a mild point.
Yeah.
He is definitely warming up to Blair.
Nate is telling Vanessa about his family drama, and then what is lesbian Mexican and how is it different from regular Mexican food?
I have the exact same note. Vanessa, what is lesbian Mexican?
Robin said that, and then I turned and showed her your script right at the same time and said that it was Leif's note too.
Yeah.
And then I was the one that said that the taco jokes are just low-hanging fruit or no-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
But I also had the note of, yes, please, with Nate and Vanessa.
Yes. They're cute.
Yeah. It's something for Vanessa to do, at least.
He makes her bearable.
Yeah. Then Nate gets a call delivering even more family drama. Nate deduces from his conversation with Mommy Dearest that she is taking money from Chuck.
Yeah. Nate, like, Chuck loves you, brah. Like, he loves you. Just let him help you out, brah. He doesn't want this for you.
Oh, I'll take care of it.
Yeah. How?
Right. We've seen that this whole episode, Nate.
We'll see.
We've seen you
We'll
take
see.
care of it by running around the Upper East Side talking to people about how you're not going to take care of it.
No. Well, no, he doesn't. Because no one's around to talk to Nate again. Like, every time anything goes wrong with Nate's parents, fucking no one is there except for the fucking pedo who's calling him. who he's dodging the calls from.
Nate and Vanessa leave on a positive note, but it looks like Nate is about to go confront Chuck. So, yeah. They set plans. They're going to meet up later. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, and yeah, it was finally someone to talk to him too. Like he does, and that's also not the first time that Chuck has no one to talk, or that Nate has no one to talk to and finds Vanessa.
Yeah. However, it looks like Chuck is doing some confronting of his own with Nate's cougar girlfriend. Da-da-da. I don't do business with children.
Yeah, you don't.
I had the exact same note.
Yeah.
You don't do business with children, but you're sleeping with a high school student.
Yeah, you'll sleep with them, but you won't do business with them unless that business is prostitution.
Yes.
I won't do business with them unless it's the oldest business.
Nate. I just want to hug Nate.
Back from commercial break, Blair's party has plenty of guests, but none of them look to be having any fun. Blair tries to get Dan to impress Marcus, but Dan quickly ducks out with Serena.
Blair failing just isn't written well. Like it doesn't seem like her in any of it. And Dorota failing. Because like her thing of like Dorota invited these are people that Dorota invited.
Yeah.
Dorota wouldn't fail at a party like this. Even with last minute instruction. I feel like Dorota's better than this. Blair's better than this. Stephanie Savage is not better than this.
Nope.
Since when does Blair Waldorf plan a snooze of a party?
Yeah, never. Unless it's a slumber party.
Dan and Serena find a quiet corner of the party, but are immediately interrupted by Chuck entering the party with Catherine. And yeah, this is where we get more repetition from last season, where you get the opposite, or Dan calls out Vanessa's name, and now we get Serena calling out Chuck's name.
Yeah, my note says more of the same.
Yeah.
And it's calling out the wrong name, and then it's, that's his, I can't tell you, I can't say, and then that's all of the problems that you kept having. But at least, we'll see if you're talking about them later on.
Chuck introduces Blair to Catherine. Blair, not knowing who the woman is, insults her to her face. Serena walks over, and the three women awkwardly look at each other while Chuck smirks.
I loved Serena in this scene trying to run interference and do like the best introductions you possibly could given the truth of who these people actually are.
Mm.
And let's throw a book club in there because, who can argue with a book club?
Well,
It's actually coming up.
Yeah.
First, we have back at the gallery, Rufus is asking Vanessa if she can continue running the cafe while he goes on another tour.
Again,
Is this
she's
sweet
not
or
your
is this
friend,
weird?
Rufus.
Yeah.
She's not your friend.
She's an employee though. Apparently.
Right. Well, there's two conversations that happen though, right? There's the conversation of could you run this? But the other conversation of I'm kind of thinking about going back. I'm thinking about going back on tour. Allison can hang out with the kids, and it's like, if you leave us with Allison, Rufus, we will never forgive you. Even if she's written out. even if she's a big theater fan and has had a new show every week. Pirates of Penzance next week. I don't care. That was where they're already at, right? Anyway,
Who cares?
who cares?
South Pacific, I think they were at.
So yeah, they're at South Pacific. And just the conversation also is that, like, should I go on tour? Like, kind of leaning on her for advice. And again, like, feels like Rufus should have had two different people to have these conversations with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I feel like, though, I'm realizing now that maybe I'm empathizing a little bit with Vanessa's character here, because I do think Rufus is pretty dreamy and I have, like, deeply rooted daddy issues. So I kind of get the Vanessa. I kind of get the Vanessa angle here. Like, I'm going to befriend the dreamy dad. I can't have Dan, so why not have Rufus?
Yeah.
Am I the Vanessa?
No one can hate you that much.
Yeah.
Back at the party, Blair tries apologizing to Duchess Beaton. Catherine looks on with disdain as Blair recites a litany of her sins. Once Blair has humiliated herself thoroughly, Catherine points out that Marcus will never end up with a lowly Waldorf. Blair is really getting a taste of her own medicine here.
I found Blair laying out all of her cards on the table was so not Blair. And even fumbling, even all that. It just another example of, like, I get that they had to keep her failing and failing and failing for her to eventually really come out on top, but I just felt like it just didn't feel like Blair.
Yeah. Right in the middle of the Catherine and Blair dress down, Nate arrives to the party in a tracksuit, and it immediately becomes awkward when Nate and Catherine recognize each other. Serena tries to cover for them by explaining everyone's convoluted sexual history, which of course just makes it more awkward.
Yes, insert book club here.
Yeah, that's Nate's friend from book club. And the best was Gossip Girl in the monologue when it was Nate is Blair's ex, blah blah blah. Nate and Marcus's mom are in a book club.
Nice try, Serena.
So that is the end of Act 2. We move into Act 3. Serena is comforting Blair about her failure at a party. So, yeah, that's what he's been saying. Yeah, not a good party. She's just backsliding all episode.
Yeah, and I love that we see the friendship here. I love that we see that core friendship and that we see the tough love from Serena.
Yeah.
Talking to Blair the way only Serena and Eleanor and maybe Lily can. And how she just is, yeah, I really loved seeing that little spark between them.
Mm-hmm. Elsewhere at the party, the other half of the non-judging Breakfast Club are arguing about Chuck giving money to Mrs. Howie.
Chuck loves you.
Yep.
Just accept it.
Yep.
Just
take it.
Let your friend who
just let it happen. Just let it happen.
Helping you out.
Shh, just go with it.
This is Chuck Bass we're talking about.
Right. And Nate. So, Nate, just lie down and...
Yeah.
Serena is apparently done thinking and is just down to get down with Dapper Dan. Nate catches them but seems happy for them. Nate has to hang back because he gets a booty call text from Catherine.
Yeah, gross. I did love how Nate reacted to seeing Jim and Serena. Yeah, he was happy for them, and it was genuine. And I love that Nate he's always just so supportive of his friends. Yeah. And I feel like he's starting to see Dan as a friend now.
Yeah.
And I really like that.
Yeah, I want to see more Dan and then Nate.
I would really like to see more Dan and Nate.
A Nate stan
since day one.
I love it.
Day one.
I love it.
Nate tries to break up with Catherine, but she manipulates him like the predator that she is.
Goodness gracious.
Oh, she's so fucking gross.
Yeah. I was sort of okay with just like a fling between them. You know, he's 17. It's legal in New York. I mean, but once he wants out and she's drawing him back in, that's when it gets really bad really quick.
And the best case scenario, I'll be Blair's father-in-law.
Like the emotional manipulation too, of like, this is not just physical. This is, oh,
Yeah.
honey, tell me your problems and how can I help you? And that's
Ugh.
another layer to
Yeah.
her
Creepy.
predatory nature.
Rufus returns to the loft while listening to a cute voicemail from Jenny. He looks around at the empty loft and all the stuff he missed with his kids this summer and immediately calls his agent.
Rufus loves his kids more than the road.
I
Yep.
love it. I love a nice family Rufus.
You should go on the road with the kids next summer, unless they want to stay back.
Well, they both had jobs this summer, so
Yeah. Well, how'd that work out for Dan? And how's that going to work out for Jenny?
he hooked up with a lot of girls.
Fact.
Got his drink on with that wannabe Scott Fitzgerald guy.
Oh, yeah.
And then just when you thought the Nate and Catherine story couldn't get any worse, now she's literally paying him for sex.
Yes, Nate just became a prostitute.
Nate.
He's taking care of it.
How is this better than letting Chuck pay for it?
Yeah. In what way? Yeah.
But thankfully, it looks like this story might be coming to an end because Blair walks in with Nate on top of the Duchess. Oh my effing God.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. It was, one of those predictable things, but she needs to go. But also, like, she needs to go. And at the end of this, she still hasn't gone.
Yeah, we move into the epilogue. Nate gracefully leaves so Blair can get her blackmail on. Go, Blair, go. Take the bitch down.
I love her face when she says, Catherine will be just a moment.
Oh,
It was that second that it's like, there she is.
Yes.
There she is.
I wrote in all caps, Queen Bee reigns again. It was Blair back to being Blair in her best possible form.
And we get Marcus walks in and Blair gets a forced approval from Catherine. It looks like Marcus and Blair are Facebook official.
She had to get to know the real me.
So perfect.
Back at the loft, we see a cute Humphrey reunion. Dan reveals he's converting his short story into a chapter of a novel.
I really sided with Jenny when she said, someone thinks that your life is pretty interesting.
I loved this whole scene so much. I love their family banter. I think it is so sweet.
Yeah.
I feel like those kids didn't eat all summer because they were so darn excited to see some good Rufus home cooking.
Yeah.
And
His 2 meals.
it was just sweet.
He has 2 meals that he cooks.
Yeah, pasta and
Waffles.
And waffles. Well, yeah, and waffles, of course. But I haven't noticed that it was only pasta for dinner. I thought there was...
There was a salad there.
Yeah, well, because Lily has commented on his cooking early on. I forget did he make her just pasta?
Wasn't it pasta sauce that he had made? Hey, I don't care if he's a 2-trick pony. That's better than, ordering room service every night that I'm sure a lot of these other people are doing.
Fair.
Serena and Blair are having a sleepover, but Chuck is also home. Serena takes Chuck's drink and leaves the room. Blair has won this round, but Chuck points out that tomorrow is another day. How long are they going to play this out? Just get these 2 kids together already.
Their flirt fighting is such a highlight of this show for me. They have such fantastic chemistry, and they both just play stereotypical villain in love so well that
I love how when Blair starts the conversation, he goes, "That's not sarcasm in your voice." She goes, "No, it's victory." And I also love how she said she recognized. I think she has recognized something in me, or more like I recognize someone in her.
Zing.
But
Nate calls Vanessa and blows her off. If it was anyone besides Vanessa, I would probably feel bad. As Nate hangs up, we see Catherine get into the limo and hand Nate an envelope. The limo pulls away and Nate is looking out the window forlornly. Someone call the police. That woman is kidnapping a child.
blinking an SOS.
Yeah, Nate's head against the window is like the saddest moment of this entire episode. And despite all all of your disdain for Vanessa, I really did feel badly for her in this scene. I thought she was trying to be so sweet to Nate, and she set up that little Chinese food little picnic for them.
Yeah,
I did feel badly for her.
I felt bad for her because like I've said, I feel like Vanessa sucks less when Nate is with her, and I really did feel like this was such a shitty way for it to go. And also, can this plot line end in handcuffs? And I know it won't, but god damn it should. Like
the child is holding an envelope of cash with his head against the window.
Yeah. Like
someone help him.
This is can you extradite someone from England for it's just sickening.
Yeah. So that is our episode. Any predictions for next week?
My biggest prediction is that Catherine is not going to receive the consequences she deserves of being a sex trafficker and predator. Other than that, I think that this Dan Serena thing is just gonna keep being silly for a while. Man,
I hope not. I want them to get back to being them and not just, horny bunny rabbits.
I feel like we're gonna see horny bunny rabbits until Georgina Sparks shows up mid-season. What was my other prediction? My mid-season prediction?
You said they would last till mid-season.
Oh yeah. So okay. So I'm gonna up that prediction from mid-season to mid-season when Georgina Sparks shows her.
You think Georgina's gonna come back?
I think Georgina will be back. Just because she's a great way to blow things up and a great way to mess it all up. And it'll be really annoying and it'll be really frustrating.
But then you'll be less annoyed with Vanessa because Georgina will be there.
Because Georgina will be there. Hopefully she's banging Nate by then.
Maybe Georgina will be banging Nate.
All right. Maybe Vanessa and Georgina will be banging Nate. What kind of show?
So many options.
When did it switch to Max?
So many options.
Let's go ahead and move into some segments.
Hello there, Peabody here. And this is the Wayback Machine for traveling through time. And this is my boy, Sherman. Speak, Sherman. Hello. Good boy.
So this week in fandom, the Wayback Machine was a little rusty. The Television Without Pity message board thread was missing for this episode. So I had to go over to Fan Forum.
It's weird that the regular write-up and the forums were all missing from...
Well, the write-up is on the episode thread. That's where you normally get it from.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So I learned on the Fan Forum that this is the first episode, and for some time, Canada was getting the episodes Sunday night while America was getting it on Monday night.
Whoa! So you could spoil everything in Canada if you wanted to, or you could fake spoil everything. You could totally Eric Bischoff Gossip Girl for the Americans.
So they had specific spoiler rules laid out in the thread.
Great. So they get universal healthcare and poutine and earlier episodes of Gossip Girl.
Indeed.
I'm just saying.
Fans were desperate for more Chuck and Blair. That was the biggest thing. And then also they also noticed the weird vibes from Rufus and Vanessa.
Yeah. Yeah, they glare.
Yeah. But yeah, it was not a lot of chatter on that message board. It was all pretty similar. It's kind of just like repeating the same thing. I like the Television Without Pity. That's a more snarky fan base.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and move into episode grades. Steve, you want last time, so I will go first this time. I thought this was a decent episode. It was definitely better than last week, I thought. But it still wasn't a great episode, so I gave it a B-. Robin, what did you give it?
I gave this episode a C. I felt like they were trying to prep us to basically say, here's what happened over the summer, and here's, what could be coming next in the fall. And it felt like they were cramming a lot of little tidbits into one episode, as opposed to like the big jaw dropping, which is sort of what I enjoy about the show. So I thought it was middle grade. I gave it a C.
I hated this episode. I shouldn't say hated it, but this was my least favorite episode to date, I believe. I gave it a C-. I thought the writing had some good one-liners and good jabs, but it didn't have good writing. Like the writing wasn't the character, the writing for the characters. Even like the Nate scene that I liked, Nate really doesn't do that. Nate doesn't joke like that. So it felt like they just didn't have the characters down.
Yeah. Whoever was writing for Blair this episode was missed the mark.
I thought the plot was just ridiculous. The Lord's the stepmother is the Lord. Like like when it turned into a soap opera, I thought it was ridiculous. I thought Chuck was good. I liked Chuck in this episode. I liked that it was another time that we saw Chuck underplan a scheme that blew up in his face in some way. Because Chuck is really good at that. Like, Poison Ivy when he stalks Serena, and it turns out it's Eric who is in the hospital in the rehab and not Serena. And when he lets out to Gossip Girl that Blair was sleeping with two people, like he does these schemes and then doesn't shield himself properly, and it backfires on him. And I kind of love that he's really good at it, but he's still learning.
Yeah. So also, in this episode, I mean, I do kind of like the change of scenery, but I think New York as a city is missing.
Yeah. New York is such a character in the show, and to do 2 episodes out of it does feel like a lot.
Yeah. Fair. And the other thing I did forget to mention in this episode, we did finally get to see the Vanderwoods penthouse.
Yes. Yeah, we did. That it's finally renovated.
Yes. They were staying in the Palace Hotel all last season.
Yeah.
Rough lives.
Moving on to Stockwatch. Going up, I had Dan and Serena. They just, they had fun. They didn't solve their problems, but they got laid a bunch. So good for them. I gave Vanessa stock up because she was a good friend. It looks like she got a job now. She was, helping out Rufus, even though that's kind of weird, but good for her. And also Blair, because her schemes came out, and she's now dating the Lord. She's Facebook official.
I will give my stock on the rise to also to Blair and Vanessa. Yeah, I thought Vanessa was trying to be a really good friend to Nate and oddly to Rufus. And I thought she just was giving good friend energy in this episode. And also, despite Blair's very messy start to the episode, her monologue at the end of just tearing down Catherine and, declaring victory over Chuck, they were just, they're why Blair is my favorite character. I'm partial.
I'm sorry. I thought you were just a washed-up has-been bleach blonde swimsuit model who married above her station.
What about you, Steve?
I had Chuck going up because I felt like Chuck, cashing out the shares to help his buddy. I loved that. So Chuck went up for me for once. Blair, I had going up for the same reason. In the end, she's with the Lord now that she's getting to live her princess fantasy. And Marcus, because he landed Blair. I mean, Blair, she may be a lowly Waldorf, but she's a handful. And it wouldn't be hard for any Lord, I guess, to just be a Lord and Blair to, okay. Anyway, I had Rufus's stock going up because family. And I also had Vanessa's
choice.
Yeah, I had Vanessa's stock going up because she got a job working for Rufus in a coffee shop that she designed, and she kind of gets to be her own boss for the most part. Like, she's working for Rufus, but it seems like she's going to get to kind of run this coffee shop while being homeschooled. So that's kind of cool.
So going down, the two obvious, Catherine and Nate, because Catherine's horrible and Nate's just being taken advantage of, so he's going down. And I also had Chuck going down because he lost this episode, clearly.
I mean, he did lose. I did know that. I did.
I think he tried to do a good thing for Nate, but it didn't really work out.
Yeah, it's true.
So he just sold his prize for nothing.
Yeah.
I also had Catherine and Nate. Catherine's stock is in the negative as negative can be. And just poor sweet Nate. I mean, poor sweet Nate. Just the head against the window, people. I mean, that's all you need to know.
Yeah, I had Nate and Catherine going down. Nate, of course, for money.
Ayo.
I had Dan and Serena going down mostly because I was because
You got to get up to get down.
got to get up, get down, and they really just annoyed the shit out of me this whole episode.
Fair.
And then I also had Anne. Her stock continues to plummet. She's cut off and banished to the Hamptons.
Their guard.
With her garden, with her gigantic garden and beachfront property. That's the life you are now cursed with. You may only have the gold card. The platinum stays with us.
But here's the best outfits from the last episode we've seen.
So moving on to best outfit, I had Serena's blue Starry Night halter dress by Adam Long. She wore at the party.
I was so excited about this because I typically have trouble picking out a favorite outfit, but this one jumped off the screen to me when Chuck met Catherine for the first time, and he was wearing this sort of maroon purple suit with this light pink, maybe pinstripe shirt underneath, and I just thought it was a stunning color combination. Also, Chuck's new hairdo is growing on me in this episode. I
Still hate it.
I hated it at first, but it's growing. He still looks like
Definitely
Count
better
Chocula.
than the first season.
He still looks a little bit like Count Chocula or Count Chocula. But I loved the outfit.
Chuck always looks good.
He's going for the George Clooney Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's growing on me.
Clooney Bruce Wayne.
It's growing on me.
Chuck wears a lot of purples, which I think is like a royalty. I think that's meant to be like a royalty
definitely.
play. But
I like it.
but
I'm
he
here
always
for it.
looks good in it.
Mhm.
I picked Jenny's outfit at the very end. It's that like blue and red halter top with like that looked like it went into the whole outfit.
Yeah,
But
it was a dress. Yeah,
it was a dress. Yeah, it was really super cute.
yeah, like a butterfly necklace thing.
Yeah.
Listening to my husband talk about clothes will never not be funny. For anyone that has ever seen this man, he wears a graphic tee and basketball shorts. Unless you have to tell him to not wear a graphic tee and basketball shorts. So just the outfits of the episode are probably my favorite part of this podcast.
To be fair, there are times when I'm wearing a bathrobe and not the basketball shorts. But if I'm leaving
Tell
the
us
house,
more about your fashion choices,
I-
Steve. I love it.
Well, that is it for segments.
Actually, I did want to really quickly. We've brought up fashion and we talk about it every episode over and over, and yet we have never mentioned Eric Damon on this podcast.
That
And
is
I
true.
feel like that this is a good point to give him a shout out because he's the fashion designer for the show, and what episode of this show does not pop head to toe on every single character? So he does an absolutely
Very good job.
fantastic job. He actually worked with Blake Lively on a new project that's coming up soon too, called It Ends With Us.
Probably won't watch that, but
Probably not. Comes out in August. I'll forget about it by the time.
so that is it for segments. So let's go ahead and move into some plugs. But first, Robin, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
thank you very much. The Kylie Kelsey of the Non-Judging Breakfast
Yes.
Pod. And
It's an honor. As a Philadelphian, it is an honor to be in the same sentence as Kylie Kelsey. I'll take it.
Is there anything you would like to plug at this time?
No. My social media consists of stepchildren and stepcats. So it is private because no one needs or wants to see my beautiful stepchildren and my two lovely cats.
Well, they can just-
Any other shows you're watching lately?
Oh my gosh.
Any recommendations?
Oh, Leif, don't. That's a Pandora's box. I don't know if
Okay.
you want to open.
Okay.
She watches a lot of the prison documentary shows. Life After Lockup.
Life After. Oh God, that's my favorite. Vanderpump Rules.
Vanderpump Rules.
Bravo Girl. I love a good prison inmate show. Yeah.
Yeah, Robin
Trash garbage is pretty much my genre.
likes reality TV a lot.
I do.
Yeah. Yeah, when
So anything you want to plug for this, Steve? This should be coming out on August 26th.
August 26th. I don't know that I have anything lined up at this time, but do please follow me on TikTok or Instagram at steve.marchion, Marchion. And you can also find me on Social Club at The Weed Wizard. And you can find me pretty much anywhere that you listen to music. Please listen to me as well. You can find me pretty much anywhere you stream music, Spotify, YouTube, all that stuff.
You can find me on Instagram at Leif Capicola. You can find the podcast on Instagram and TikTok at Non-Judging Breakfast Pod, also on Threads. We're also on Twitter at NJBpod. And if you want to find us on Facebook, we have both a page and a group where you can take your own seat at the Non-Judging Breakfast table. Just search for Non-Judging Breakfast Pod. We also now have a Discord and a Reddit. So we're on Reddit, we're r/NJBpod. And then if you want to find us on Discord, you can go to njbpod.captivate.fm/Discord.
And if you would like to get in touch with us and let us know your thoughts, please send us an email at nonjudgingbreakfastpod@gmail.com. We would love to hear your thoughts and read them back on the air and hear what you have to say, answer questions, and get you more involved in the conversation. Also, please, while you're listening, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and hit that follow button. It really helps us, grow our audience. Leave a comment. Tell us what you think of what you're listening to. Please stay engaged, and we would love to get back in touch with you on all that as well. And most of all, please tell your friends what you're listening to. We'd love for you to be able to sit with your friends and chill and listen and laugh along with us.
And we will be back next week to talk about Season 2, Episode 3, The Dark Knight. The Max episode preview reads, Jenny may lose her internship with Eleanor.
Oh no.
Well, until next time, you know you love us. XOXO.
Take care.
Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Oh, it seems I'm walking right to your door. My heart's still resting, looking for something more. Are you ever gonna see everything you mean to me? I'm trying really hard to believe. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Never feels right when I'm out here on my own. I left last night and it feels like way too long. Are you ever gonna see everything you mean to me? I'm trying really hard to believe. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Come back to me. Smile and you'll make my life complete. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there.